Hello, everyone. Welcome to Perspectives of Change. I'm your host, Sarika Kharbanda. Perspectives of Change is dedicated to exploring how to nudge change forward by understanding and valuing multiple perspectives. Because sometimes, as change agents, we forget that our perspective is just one of the many perspectives out there. With that short introduction about perspectives of change, we are going to get into our special topic for today, where we are bringing how yoga is transforming lives. And for that, we have a very special guest with us today. She is dialing in actually from the same state as me, which is Maharashtra in India, but not the same city, at least not for today, though she is a frequent traveler between my city, which is Pune, and her city, which is Kolhapur at the moment. So welcome, Tahera. Welcome to Tahera Dashti.
Thanks. Thanks, Sarika. Nice to be on your show.
You're very welcome, Tahira. In fact, I'm so happy you agreed to be a part of this because it is such an important topic today. Everywhere around us, we are seeing people do yoga. I'm seeing, or yoga, as how we should be pronouncing
Yes.
it, not yoga, but yoga. And I think there's so much we can talk about it. But before we dive into the topic, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience because of course, I know Tahira as my yoga teacher, but I'm going to talk a little about how I met her, etc., once she introduces herself. So over to you, Tahira.
Thanks, Sarika. So you know me as a yoga teacher right from the day that you know me, but it's not that I was a yoga teacher just like that. So I had my own journey of yoga. So I started yoga in the year 1994, around when I was around 15-year-old. And I mean, because I had yoga already in my house. My elder brother Ali was already doing yoga with Guruji B.K.S. Iyengar and his family, like Gitaji and Prashanti. So yoga, I would see him practicing because he's much elder to me. So I was watching him do yoga from a very young age since I was 7 years old. And then eventually, actually, you don't appreciate yoga as much.
Okay.
Normally, we don't appreciate yoga unless we feel the need for it. And for me, it was early on. So by the age of 14, 15, I had a lot of constipation problems. So the medicines, the food, everything was going wrong. So it was my brother who pulled me. And since he's much elder, my brother to me, I had to listen to him. And then he pulled me on for this practice at home. And then he took me to his classes in Iyengar yoga. So, but through the yoga practice, and it's not just like I did 2 classes with him and I was fine. And he is disciplined, so he wanted me. He didn't take me as a sister then, like of course because no casual behavior. So I followed because I was in pain and I needed it more. So over a period of 3-4 months, I overcame it. And thereon, because sometimes what happens, it is like the tendency of your body is for something because of the constitution of your body. Because of the constitution of my body, I had the tendency of having constipation, and sometimes even now, like if I miss out on practice. So then I was then thereon my yoga journey began. And of course, my brother was my teacher first, then it was other teachers, because you have to go through levels. It's not level as in because these days levels are taken, but levels because your body is not prepared. So that is what the concept of the Iyengars was. So gradually, as I went on over a period of years, then I was learning under B.K. Iyengar, Guruji, Gitaji, the daughter of Guruji, and Prashantji, son of. So I've been trained under them. And from student, when I became teacher, I didn't realize. And that's how. Then since then it has been, and it has been more because the love of yoga. And you because when you start like this, it remains with you. And if you don't do yoga, it's I feel incomplete for that day. It's a part of me. So if I teach or if I don't teach, but yoga has been a part of me ever since. And it's been a part of not just me, my brother, my sister, because my siblings are also into this from early. And thanks to my elder brother, because he pulled us all towards it. And we were very fortunate to have the best teachers of the world, and we stayed. Of course, there was a lot of discipline, but that is what about it is. So that's how my journey is, and I'm still here.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I want to share one very interesting aspect of Tahira's journey. And that's because I know her a little more now. Although she's my teacher, I still, can find those smaller details about her generally through conversation. Of course, you develop that relationship between a teacher and a
Yeah.
student. So I remember, Tahira, you mentioned, that you were actually in France doing your MBA, weren't you?
Yeah.
How did you then go from doing an MBA to yoga? That's a very
Uh,
interesting shift.
yeah, because when I was going, like at the age of 20, I finished my graduation, and I was doing yoga, but like for myself. I mean, yes, I cannot give up.
Right.
So then of course, I wanted to do something in post graduation, and my education was an MBA in France, in Europe. So my family allowed me, but with a lot of this thing. They're like, we are allowing you, but it's not like, and Guruji teacher, they were also, they always supported education. You have to be educated at the same time, but they had some different future for me. So I went there. It was a year and a half program, not more. And I went there, and I was even about to work over there, but my family just strange family. They didn't want me to earn. They called me back, and then they said no. You either do something here, but yoga you cannot give up. And then when I went to the institute, they're like, "Where were you? You cannot give up like this." And that's how it was. They were like, no, because by then my elder brother Ali, then Gulnaz, and also Musa, they all were into yoga and assisting and helping and becoming teachers already, or becoming teachers like Musa. So then I was pulled into it, and I had to give up my mm, career, profession, the educational profession that I had come with. And to be honest, I was young, and it was not easy for me to give up because I wanted to. But then in my family, it was like they revere. I mean, Guruji was above all of us. So my mother also said no. Whatever they say, you just follow. You don't. So it. So I first there was a lot of reluctance, and then I gave up. Then I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I follow. And ever since then, I don't look back. I don't question. Just do. And
So, and the way I'm seeing it is, it's your passion today, isn't it? It's a
yes,
beautiful.
because then when I say okay, now I give up that the career of education or this thing, but then you have to completely surrender, like so whatever is going on, you just follow, and then it becomes so much deep with you, and because of their presence, it was something else. Their presence, so many of them found them very strict, and because they used to scold just like a school. I never came out of school ever. But it is fine, it is fine. They are your teachers, and you should not doubt them. And that is how it followed. I never we were not like these days. It is like this. The teacher scolds you. You don't like the teacher. You look for another teacher. For us, it was not like that. For us, I mean, we didn't So that is how it is, a guru-shishya parampara. So you have to trust your teacher unless you think you doubt your teacher or something. Then better not be in doubt. None of us, me neither, nor my siblings, none of us ever doubted our gurus.
Right.
And
And you bring out such a beautiful point there, Tahira. And of course, 5th September has just been Teachers' Day. So, and we have wished you our teacher, which was so beautiful. I think it's, and because I'm a trainer myself, I can understand that relationship, that one creates as a teacher, as a trainer with your student. And of course, I share that special bonding with you as my teacher. And I think for the benefit of the audience, I want to just, leave a few nuggets of my own journey with Tahira's teaching. And she's been my teacher now for almost 2 years or more, I think, now, since I joined my yoga journey with Tahira. It's just so amazing how a teacher can transform your life. And of course, that could be another podcast we could do where it's about my
yeah,
I mean, it's just beautiful because the teacher knows so much about her student and the teacher is so invested
Exactly.
in their students that it's just, I would never question something because there are so many blind spots that we as students don't know. And I think that's the case also in your case. I would say when your teachers, BKS Iyengar ji and Geeta ji, when they saw you,
Of
they,
course.
they saw that potential in Tahira and they were like, okay, let's nurture that potential, right? So, which maybe then
Yeah.
you can see, and now you appreciate it over that's such a long journey, right?
Yeah, because that time, when, and especially I was young also, and who wants to,
Exactly.
like I had already seen my brothers, sisters being teachers. It was not so attractive to me, seriously. But then they were very clear. They were like, no, they were just clear. You have to be here from morning to evening and whatever time we say. So thereon you don't question.
Nice.
So that's how it is.
So tell us more, Tahira. What does it feel like now? You are still practicing. You shared that you're still practicing yoga every day because you can't lose touch with that. So you're a practitioner in the truest of senses, but you're also a teacher because you are beautifully spreading that teaching that you have gained. And as a teacher, very truly, you're spreading that worldwide. I know you have students coming in internationally to you, to join you, and especially because you do online classes, that's still a stigma, right? Can we do yoga online, etc.? So tell us a little more about, you know, can people really come to you for an online yoga class? Because we see a lot of that happening. You do a great job, but tell us a little more on your teacher journey there. How does that work for you?
Actually, it was quite a change for us also. And COVID. So with the COVID said, because before COVID, you would not see any Iyengar yoga teacher talking about an online teaching. Because
Hmm.
we were so like, you have to see the body, you have to see the student. It's important for us. It's not that you teach anyhow. That is what Guruji's principles were. And which I agree. Because when you start teaching yoga, you're teaching a human body. It's not just a subject like a maths or a science. And then whether you get it or not, it doesn't matter to you. But this affects what you teach will directly affect the mind and the body of the student. So with the onset of this thing, we had nothing but to start online, and thankfully Zoom was also there. It is a good setup of Zoom, so we can see the student one, which is important in our teaching. And once we teach, then the instructions accordingly also we give the instructions, and rather I would say the students know they should not there should not be a hesitation. If you decide to do yoga, there'll be number of reasons not to do yoga.
Mhm.
But that one reason that you want to do yoga, you should stick to it, because online yoga, I'm not saying about just like you said, international students around India or something like that, but within, like when I was in Pune, within Pune, the infrastructure of the city is such that to travel to a class and to park and then all that, like it tires a person. It tires a person. So even so then really the online classes are quite beneficial. So wherein we demonstrate, the teachers demonstrate very well, and the instructions are clear and upright, and uh, efficiency is as good as an offline class as well. In offline class, yes, but there are some things a little bit like, here and there. Of course, the offline classes are has its own this thing, but online classes are, I would say, at par as good, because you tend to do the same sequencing in the comfort of your own house, and without bringing in more excuses of not to do yoga. So it's better that you do yoga. That is more important. So if you've decided, so you don't bring in more excuses into of not doing it. Online is a good, like even we take so many classes. It's really very nice. I don't see as any problem as such.
Right. And I think I can vouch for that because I started my journey when, with you on the online
Online class,
way of
exactly. And
doing.
you stayed in Pune, I stayed in Pune, and how could you?
Exactly. And I was still doing it online. In fact, that is
Yes.
also after COVID was done. And, I had no,
Yeah.
I could have gone in person and done that. But you're so
Yeah.
right, right? I mean, the traffic, commuting, I think there's so many of those challenges. And I think one point that could help people, as a reminder is that literally what you had said during the class, I was like, what equipment do we need? And the only thing
Mhm.
was just a yoga mat and whatever you have at home. So maybe you can
Yeah.
just talk a little bit about the props, because that's also a mindset where we get hung up as a student. What all
Yeah.
do we need? Do
Yeah.
we need to buy 10,000 things?
No, no, no. Actually, for me, at least on a personal level, when I see new students coming in online classes, so the first thing is that they should get accustomed to doing the yoga, because okay, it's a new form of exercise for them. So the body, of course, will take its own, muscle soreness and all. And the only thing really, instead of if your floor is not slippery, you can do it on that also. But otherwise, you need a yoga mat which is very easily available. Then there are because we teach Iyengar yoga, other schools teach whatever. So we need props because Guruji had brought in these props for the comfort of the students to do the particular asan efficient. No matter how your body is, what your age is, nothing matters in that. Okay. So similarly, so that there now the props are like in my background. So there could be a mat, there's a blanket, there's a mat, there's a bolster, there could be a break. Then we say yoga break. So, but all this as a new student, I definitely don't tell. Instead, we tell them to use first 3 4 months. I always tell them to use something which is absolutely available in the house. Because see, you should because I don't know what is their yoga journey till what time it is. Why unnecessarily invest in it? I would say that. So instead of a bolster, you have pillows in the house. Instead of a blanket, you have the bed sheets in the house. So belt hai to you have a dupatta in the house. Brick hai to koi dabba hai. So all these makeshift. So it's absolutely fine. And then gradually, if you think yes, I'm gonna stay with the classes, which I hope many do that, then they can invest in that. I know it's not very expensive, as expensive, I would say, but still, why unnecessary? So I don't push them as such because also what happens is sometimes when you are on the path of yoga, so sometimes we also should not have a blockage. Like if I don't have a bolster, I cannot practice. If I don't have a mat, I cannot practice. So maybe there are students that are practicing for past 20 years, 10 years, but then they get blocked. We should not be like that. It's not. So whether you're a beginner or a practitioner, that is how it should.
Yeah, I love that answer, especially because these are our own mental blockers or excuses. I would say that, you always stop your own self from starting that journey saying, oh, I don't have
Yeah,
equipment to begin yoga. There's nothing that is going to stop you guys, just be there, because that change.
just be there. Just start. I mean, don't because that's what I said, and it's written by Lord Patanjali also.
Right.
Lord Patanjali who gave us the blessing of yoga, but he also said there'll be a lot of problems of why we should not do yoga.
Yes, those are
Hardly
in the
any
longer list.
supportive thing to do yoga. So we have to overcome all those problems and excuses and then go ahead.
Right. So, for all my audience, listeners, viewers, remember, you can start your journey literally today. All you need is
Yeah.
just a mat. But if your floor is not slippery, like Tahira said, you don't need that. And you have a
It's
wall
good.
right behind you. So, you need a wall
Yeah.
as a prop. Start with it. You don't need anything
Yeah.
else. And then, yeah, of course, just ping Tahira and just join her classes. I'm so biased, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, just moving on, I think you gave a very meaningful response, because the challenge of today is this whole online versus offline and the struggles that all of us go through. But also, there are a lot of people who are skeptical. Am I at that age? Is it too late to start yoga? I am 60. There is this.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Now, what happens is there's no age, no bar. Actually, as a kids class, I don't know, kids from the age of 7, we tell them to start the yoga, but because before that, the body is still developing, the bones, the everything. So, hence, till the age of 7, we tell don't bring your kids to the class. But after 7, there's no age limit, really. And you can start anytime because, see, what happens is it's yoga is also a part of your destiny, if you're destined to do yoga. so, so the thing is, Now, it's a serious thing. You should be destined to do yoga. You should be destined to have a good teacher. All that is important, and how you go ahead. Age is nova. Now, sometimes if you take young girls and boys, so from the age of whatever 15, 20, 25, they don't do yoga because they're so dragged into their education. Then they are dragged into their career, then the married life. So it's this thing. Then the housewives or the working professionals, men, women, both. So the life is only all the time continuous, and then yoga is never is never a part of the society. Norms of the society. So it is not given that importance until like, God forbid that you get some ailment or something, and like me at a very early age. But Guruji would say, if you get an ailment, never look at it negatively. It's a positive thing because you learn many things out of it. Okay, so physically, mentally, emotionally, you learn many things, and it's not that you stay with that ailment. You should grow out of it, and you should move on. So it is like that, and that is how yoga prepares you for. So no matter what kind of ailment in life, like even if I'm doing yoga, it's not that I've been ailment free. I myself have been facing so many problems on and off, but then I know how your practice should change, how your lifestyle should change. Everything it is in a very positive way that you go, and you should and so then coming back to the age, this thing earlier, the earlier you start practicing yoga is the best. I would say that, but it doesn't mean that you have reached the age of 60 and you should not. Rather, you should start the day you think, okay, there is yoga and I can. Everybody can do it. There's no age limit. Elderly, youngsters, nothing. There's no age bar. Asanas will be, as I said, the same asanas will be done by everybody in every age form. And just that, whether you are young or old, the body shape and type is going to be different in each human being, and the yoga that we teach is accordingly. That's why when the props come,
Right.
so whether it's your age or it's your body type or your stiffness or anything, that is when we provide you the props. But otherwise, I don't think, again, an excuse. I'm old, I won't start. I'm too young, I won't do. No excuses. It is for everybody, and it should be a part of your life, and it should not be in a calculated way of part of your life, because seriously, yoga is a thing that it reaches not just to your body, physical body, unlike the other exercises that I don't criticize other exercises, but I'm just saying, but it's a very holistic journey. It is about your body first that we are going towards, then it connects with your mind without saying, and then your soul, the breath. So there are asanas, pranayams, and accordingly it is taken. So age and body share. Everybody says my body is not flexible, I won't do yoga. The one is that, and secondly they come and say, we are flexible, why should we do yoga? It's not that. It is not that. So yoga is not, it is flexibility is a part of that. But actually it is more about the strengthening of the body and the mind. We as humans, we see very much physical outward world. No, this really touches you deeper into, organically, mentally. So it is a very beautiful, and it is all about an experience. All your laziness, tamasic nature, everything, we have to overcome that. We human beings have many reasons not to do. But the thing is, when we do it, you have to experience it. Only you can experience. Your parents cannot experience it for you. Your teachers cannot experience it for you. Your friends cannot do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. Right. Absolutely, you have to do it for yourself. And and it's not that you're doing for life and then suddenly say, oh, things happen in my life, I'm doing yoga, why did this happen to me? It's not that. Rather, you should see how you can face that particular situation. And it helps us. It helps us very much. I would say that.
Yeah, many things actually that are coming to my mind now because you've said so much of valuable stuff there. So I think one of the things that definitely I want to bring out for our audience is you mentioned a couple of ailments. So before I get to those, I just want to say this holistic journey piece, right? I mean, it's so unique for every individual. And you're right. What I experience is only what I experience in my own journey. my, my parents can't experience it, my friend
No.
can't experience it. It's a unique journey for every individual. And I think your website says something very beautifully. I'm sure you will remember that as soon as I start saying it. It's the journey of the self, through the
Through
self,
the self
to the
and to
self.
the self.
Yes. So really, yoga is all, about
It's
your
all about
journey.
that that self. It's about the self. Okay.
Yes.
So of the self means it's you. You have to begin it. Then you have to go through it. And to the self is finally inward. That much you have to go inward because it yoga is that, and it is how it is. I don't say that you should do yoga for your fame or you should do yoga for money it is not that. I mean, we should not. It is a it's a very disciplined thing, and I respect. I more than discipline. Discipline is of course one thing. It is a lot of respect because how it has shaped me, how it has helped me, or helped million others that I've seen over a period of years. So it's a very beautiful thing, I would say.
And yet another beautiful point you bring out, discipline. And I think I can go on for hours, but yes, we will start to narrow this down in the next 10 minutes or
Yeah.
so, hopefully less. But
Yeah.
I think discipline, which is one of the key ingredients, because a lot of people, as you probably have been hearing, and we were chatting offline, and I heard that from you too. People come and say, "Oh, I'm doing this, but sometimes it doesn't work for me." But if you're not regular, if you don't have a discipline,
Exactly.
what do you
Exactly.
yoga? How will it
Exactly.
work, right?
Exactly. Now, when you do yoga, like we have medical yoga also, and we have the regular yoga. So the thing is, if you want to see any change in your body, it is a very result oriented thing, right?
Right.
It is a very scientific thing. It is a very it's a big art. Like Guruji would say, it is an art, it's a science, and it's a philosophy. Yoga is a mix of all these things. But unless and until first is a discipline. Even Lord Patanjali has said, Ataha Yoga Anushasana. Means now, once you start with the yoga, means it is now you begin with the discipline. So, if the discipline is not there, if you're going to take breaks and you are not going to practice that yoga, so the effect of it is not going to be felt accordingly. And I'm not saying that you don't take breaks at all. Otherwise, you are not a. It's not like that. We in today's modern life, we have a family, we have work pressure, we have travel, we have something, and breaks happen in life. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine because of your own health. Also, sometimes you fall sick, and then you take a week break, 2 weeks break, 1 month, 2 months. But your discipline and all should be such that you come back to it. And when you come back to it, you allow your body again to softly begin with it. Okay, because you should be very wise on that thing, or at least when you have that discipline, you should also trust the teacher to guide you accordingly. Because because many a times I have seen that when I'm some students come back, and then when I'm trying to guide them, so before they went on a holiday or before they went on a break, their body was more supple. I mean, they would do it.
Right.
Now suddenly they cannot do. So when I tell them, they feel I'm discouraged. It's not about discouraging. We never discourage people. We rather would encourage. And going back to that online also, even on the online classes, we have taught everybody Shirshasana. We have taught all the asanas that we take in an offline class. So there is nothing short of that.
Oh yeah.
So
I am a good example of that myself. Learned
you
Shishasana
were very
after
you were
2 years.
very reluctant to it.
I was so
You were very
scared, and but I think the beauty in that was you knew when this student's body was ready for the asana, because when I got
correct,
your class,
correct,
I was not ready. I knew,
correct.
because I've had a very sedentary life for so many years too, and my body was
Now what has happened, Sarika? What has happened, Sarika, is like yoga is everywhere right now online.
right.
Insta, Facebook,
Yes.
influencers, many teachers, many teachers. It is good. It is good. But what is not good is that they are giving a wrong picture to the newcomers or the new people who would likely join the classes. They show all these fancy asanas. Yoga is not only just about the fancy, difficult asanas. It's not that. It is much more to it.
Right.
So you start slow and then you go towards, so the body prepares. and it is the eyes of the teacher. It is, that's why we have to see the student. I cannot do a random webinar and start teaching them
Yes.
without seeing anybody. I'll start teaching them Shishasana. So because then again the name of the art goes wrong, you know.
Right.
If you fall, because it's no normal, no, you will invite injuries, you will invite falls and all. So it is like that. So so the thing is, right now, see, the online world is very nice, but at the same time you have to be very wise what you see, what you can do, how you can do. So that's why sometimes I feel it's the duty of the responsibility of the teachers also, when they're demonstrating, at least put disclaimers who can do it, because they're putting these short clips. You can't go and practice that, you know, short clippings of the asanas that they achieved or they can do, or you do this. But so it is something like that.
Yeah. So again, it's about that body, right?
Yeah,
How I don't want to use the word fit, but how achievable is that for you? Because at the
correct,
end of the day, that
correct,
asana is not your outcome that you're looking for. What you're
correct,
looking for,
correct.
going back to your quote from the website, it's about how you yourself can move through that journey
Exactly,
to reach somewhere.
exactly.
And that asana is
And
never the goal.
always be with yourself. Constantly our life is about comparison with the world, competition with the world. All this
Don't
is not
compare.
needed.
Yeah.
It is really not needed in this.
Yeah.
So
Because
only because otherwise you are not yourself. Simple as that.
exactly. And maybe I don't want to do what Tahira is reaching there, right?
And me as a teacher also, I have many a times I have setbacks because
Right.
of my ailment. Sometimes I can't do those asanas. It's fine. You should be, me as a teacher, I should not have that ego. Why not? I'll prove myself. It's gradually it will come. Like you should be on the path and have that faith and the practice, and that's all.
And as you share in all our classes, yoga teaches you to be humble. So that just sticks in my head. It's so true, right? And it makes you look inward. And honestly, yeah, it has made me sane with dealing with traffic. So thank you. I can deal better with traffic now. Okay, but a question back to you, Tahira, is as we wrap up, before I ask you my final questions for this conversation, and of course, I want to bring you back on many other conversations with us, which are so beautiful. If one needs to reach out to you, what is the best way to reach out? Say, I want to have a discussion, I have a medical ailment, or I want to start my yoga journey. How does anyone reach out to you?
So we how do I reach out to you? We have our website yuganjali.in. So you can reach out to me. So there is a phone number, but that is a common phone number, but there are email also. So you can send an email, and surely I'll get back to you, or my siblings will get back to you. So we can work on that.
Awesome. So what
And we are very much accessible. We are not like on top somewhere.
of course, but then the
Even
word,
Guruji, he was so accessible to everybody.
of
He
course.
was such a renowned, such an, I mean, a real yogi, and but he didn't have that. He was absolutely accessible to all. So
Beautiful.
me, I'm nobody. Yeah. So I'm not at all a guru or anything. I'm just a teacher and a student. So I'm still learning. I'm on the path. So you can definitely reach out to me. It's
Right.
no
So what we will
hesitation.
do is we'll put the website URL, the email address in the show notes or the talks notes in the description. So people,
Yeah.
if you want to reach out to them, yoganjali.in. So you're welcome to reach out. Yes, it is available for not just students in India, but also international. So anybody can really reach out, and the online option is always available. But before we let you go, Tahira, and before we bring you back to the next talk, I think one advice, if you would want to give to anybody who wants to literally start their yoga journey or yogic journey today. Okay, let's not go that far. That will be too far out. Let's say I just want to start being, in my yoga journey from today. What's your 2 cents of advice?
If you decide, you just act on it, because while the the timing between your decision and your act also, there'll be many reasons not to go for yoga. So that's why we are insisting. Then you will think of the traffic, the place, the teacher, so whether it's me, my other siblings, or any other teacher. But minute you decide, you go ahead. You don't waste time into it. And once you start, you should, the thing is, these days the students are different. The thing is, they want the teachers to listen to the students. The teachers should teach them what is comfortable for them. It is not like that. So first, when you as a person, as a student, when you decide to learn something, means you're a student, so you have to go ahead and trust your teacher, whoever your teacher is. So once you trust, and that is how, and these days, more than students, there are people who want to become teachers immediately. So that is another problem. So, because see, this is a complex thing, yoga, because you deal with human bodies, and doctors also. I'm not saying that doctors and yoga teachers. No, it's not that. But when you're teaching yoga, it's a form of exercise. It is a form of, as I said, it internally also, organically, mentally, it affects you. So when it is affecting you organically and mentally, so how you should be very alert as to how you teach. Your teaching principles should also be there, and every body is different. So these days the students, when they want to learn, when they want to learn to take it as a this thing profession straight off. It's not that. You can take a profession. Actually, that encouragement is always that if you want to become a teacher, go ahead. But before that, you have to learn to be a student. You have to be a student for a few years, experiment it on your own body. Why do you want to go and experiment it on somebody else's body and take a chance? So that is how it is.
Beautiful 2 cents. First of all, if you've made the decision to start, just start. Or like Nike says it, just do it. So just go.
Just do it. Seriously.
Just go be a student. Choose your teacher. Doesn't matter who. But of course, yeah, I'm biased. I will always come back to Tahera. Okay, she's like, but that's a student, right? Always what works for a student. I think it's a really important point that you bring out, Tahera, yet again. And I think yoga journey just begins. I've been a student for 2 years and more. And Tahera herself still believes she's a student. And that is the humbleness, I think, of teachers in today's world. Every teacher will always say that. And I think it's really modest and humble. So thank you, Tahera. But more importantly, for our viewers and listeners, yoga is a beautiful journey to transform lives. It's a very holistic journey. I always want to go back to what Yoganjali is saying on their website, which is that it's a journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So if you're thinking of beginning your journey, this is a journey which is really going to transform your life holistically. So it's not arm exercises or brain exercises or whatever. It's not an exercise. It's a journey. It's an experience, like Tahera said. Just believe in yourself and go through your unique journey. With that, I think, thank you, Tahera. I am so humbled and blessed
Sarika.
to have this conversation with you. So
it was nice talking to you like this, rather than in the classes.
no, it's just so different, right? And I'm sure if I go on with more questions, we'll just be.
It will not end. It will not end. Your curiosity is also there. Okay. Thanks, Sarika, for having me online.
Thank you, Tahera. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching us. We will see you on yet another podcast episode. Bye for now. Take care.